When we speak of precious coins, our minds often leap to images of glittering gold and shining silver. In the grand tapestry of French history, this is certainly true. For centuries, the intrinsic value of a coin was directly tied to the metal it was made from. A coin was not just a symbol of wealth, it was wealth itself. Gold coins, like the magnificent Louis d'Or, and large silver coins, such as the écu, were the cornerstones of commerce, royal power, and personal fortune. They were used to pay armies, build cathedrals, and finance the lavish lifestyles of the aristocracy. These coins were the tangible expression of the kingdom's prosperity and strength, circulating from the bustling markets of Paris to the farthest corners of the realm. But the story of a precious coin goes far beyond its metallic content. A coin is a miniature work of art, a historical document pressed into metal. Each one carries the portrait of a monarch, a symbol of their reign, and a date that anchors it to a specific moment in time. Imagine holding a coin that was struck under King Louis IX, also known as Saint Louis. You are not merely holding a piece of silver. You are touching an object that was part of the daily life of the 13th century. This connection to the past, to the great figures and pivotal events of French history, is what transforms a simple piece of metal into a treasured artifact. It is this historical soul that makes a coin truly precious to collectors and historians alike. Furthermore, the rarity of a coin plays a crucial role in its perceived preciousness. Some coins were minted in very small quantities, perhaps for a special occasion like a royal wedding or a military victory. Others are rare because most of their kind were melted down over the centuries, either to create new currency or to finance wars. The few surviving examples become coveted treasures. The condition of the coin is also paramount. A piece that has been perfectly preserved, with its original details sharp and its surfaces lustrous, is far more valuable than one that is worn from centuries of circulation. This state of preservation, which numismatists call grade, can elevate a common coin into a museum-quality masterpiece. Finally, the journey of a coin, its provenance, adds another layer of mystique and value. Has this particular coin been part of a famous collection? Was it discovered in a legendary treasure hoard buried centuries ago? Knowing a coin's story, tracing its ownership back through time, imbues it with a unique identity and a romantic allure. A coin that belonged to a king or was found in the wreck of a ship carries with it a narrative that is priceless. Therefore, a precious French coin is a magical combination of valuable metal, historical significance, artistic beauty, exceptional rarity, and a captivating story that continues to unfold with each new owner. In the middle of the 13th century, France was undergoing a period of profound change under the rule of the pious and powerful King Louis IX. It was a time of crusades, cathedral construction, and the consolidation of royal authority. To support these ambitions and a growing economy, the kingdom needed a stable and reliable currency. The result was the creation of the Gros Tournois around the year 1266. This was not just another coin, it was a revolution in silver. It was a large, heavy, and pure silver coin, far superior to the smaller, often debased coins that had circulated before. Its name, Tournois, came from the Abbey of Saint-Martin in Tours, where it was first minted. The design of the Gros Tournois was both simple and powerful, intended to inspire trust across the kingdom and beyond. On one side, it featured a cross, a clear symbol of the king's Christian faith. Around the cross, the king's name, Ludovicus Rex, was inscribed. On the other side, the coin displayed the Château Tournois, a stylized representation of the city walls of Tours, surrounded by a border of 12 lilies, symbolizing France and the 12 apostles. This iconic design was so successful and trusted that it was copied by other feudal lords and even in neighboring countries, becoming a standard for high-quality silver coinage in medieval Europe. The impact of the Gros Tournois on the economy was immense. It facilitated trade on a much larger scale, allowing merchants to conduct significant transactions with fewer coins. Its consistent weight and high silver content made it a preferred currency for international commerce, strengthening France's economic position. For the common people, it represented a more stable form of money, though a single Gros Tournois was still a considerable sum, equivalent to 12 of the smaller deniers Tournois. It was the coin of merchants, landowners, and the royal treasury, a tangible sign of the growing power and organization of the French state under the Capetian dynasty. For collectors today, the Gros Tournois is a highly sought-after piece of medieval history. Finding one in excellent condition is a challenge, as most were heavily used in daily commerce for decades. A well-preserved example allows one to appreciate the fine craftsmanship and the potent symbolism of its design. Owning a Gros Tournois is like holding a direct link to the age of St. Louis, a time of faith, chivalry, and the birth of a strong French nation. It represents a pivotal moment when French coinage stepped onto the European stage, setting a new standard for quality and trust that would influence monetary systems for generations to come. The story of the écu is a fascinating journey through the heart of French history. It's a tale of a coin that changed and grew over almost 500 years. The name écu comes from the Latin word scutum, which means shield. The first écu, called the écu d'or, was a beautiful gold coin. It was first made in 1337 under King Philip VI. What made it special was the big shield, or écu, of France's coat of arms, shown clearly on the coin. This was a strong way to show who the king was and how much power he had, especially since France was fighting the 100 Years' War with England at the time. The écu d'or was used to fight in the economy, just as much as it was used for buying and selling things. It showed that France was a strong and brave kingdom. For the next 300 years, the écu d'or was a very important French coin. But its design and how much it weighed changed with each new king. Kings like John the Good and Charles VI made their own versions. These often had lovely and meaningful pictures, like the king standing under a Gothic arch or sitting on a throne. However, the biggest change for the écu happened in 1641, when Louis XV was king. As part of a big money change, the gold écu was replaced by a new coin called the Louis d'or. The name écu then went to a large, good-looking silver coin. This new silver écu would be the main coin used in the French economy for the next 150 years. The silver écu, often called the écu blanc, became a famous coin from the old French kingdom. It was a big coin, usually weighing about 30 grams. It showed the face of the king at the time on one side and the royal coat of arms on the other. From Louis XIV to Louis XV, the pictures on the écu show us many French kings. Each one is shown with the fancy style and importance of their time. These coins were used for everything, paying taxes, buying land, and even paying for the lavish life at the court of Versailles. Their size and the silver in them made them a trusted way to measure value all over Europe. People often wrote about them in books and old papers from that time. Today, both the gold and silver écus are highly valued by people who collect coins. The early gold écu are rare and beautiful examples of art from the Middle Ages. Some types, like the écu à la chaise, which shows the king on a chair, are especially wanted. The large silver écu from the 1600s and 1700s are popular because of their impressive size and the historical pictures they carry. An écu from Louis XVI, for example, is a touching reminder from the last years before the French Revolution. Collecting écus is like putting together a puzzle of French history. Each coin is a chapter in the long and exciting story of the French kings and queens. In 1640, France was on the cusp of its golden age under the guidance of King Louis XIII and his powerful chief minister, Cardinal Richelieu. To modernize the kingdom's currency and project an image of absolute power, they initiated a sweeping monetary reform. The centerpiece of this reform was a new gold coin of exceptional beauty and purity, the Louis d'or. Named in honor of the king, this coin was designed to replace the older écu d'or and compete with the dominant gold coins of Spain. The Louis d'or was struck using modern machinery, which produced perfectly round coins with intricate details and milled edges, making them difficult to clip or counterfeit. The design of the Louis d'or was a masterpiece of royal propaganda. The obverse featured a noble, laureated portrait of the king, looking more like a Roman emperor than a medieval monarch. The reverse typically displayed a cross formed by 4 crowned L's with lilies in the angles and the motto Chares Regnvink Imp, an abbreviation for Christ reigns, conquers, and commands. When Louis XIV, the Sun King, came to power, the Louis d'or became the ultimate symbol of his glorious and opulent reign. The coin's brilliant gold and majestic portrait perfectly mirrored the splendor of Versailles and the absolute authority of the French monarch. The louis d'or was more than just money. It was a status symbol. It was the currency of the nobility, of international merchants, and of the royal court. Its value was substantial, with a single louis d'or being enough to support a working-class family for several weeks. These coins were used in high-stakes card games at Versailles, hidden in the corsets of fleeing aristocrats during the Revolution, and sought by pirates and adventurers across the high seas. Their fame was such that the term louis d'or became a generic name for French gold coins, even after the original design was changed by subsequent kings like Louis XV and Louis XVI. Today, the louis d'or is one of the most prestigious and sought-after coins in all of French numismatics. Its value is determined by its gold content, but more importantly, by its rarity, condition, and historical significance. Certain types, such as the early issues of Louis XIII or those with rare mint marks, can command staggering prices at auction. In 2021, a very rare type of louis d'or from 1640, known as the à la mèche longue, with long lock of hair, sold for over 468,000 euros. For collectors, owning a louis d'or, especially one from the reign of the Sun King, is to possess a tangible piece of the grandeur and glory that defined France's Grand Siècle. After the turmoil of the French Revolution, France needed stability, and Napoleon Bonaparte provided it. A key part of his program to reorganize the nation was the creation of a new, logical, and stable monetary system. In the year 1803, he introduced the franc germinal, which defined the franc based on a fixed weight of gold and silver. At the heart of this new system was a 20-franc gold coin that would soon become famous throughout the world as the Napoleon. This coin was the gold standard of its time, a symbol of French power and economic reliability in the 19th century. Its practicality and consistent value made it the most successful gold coin in European history. The original Napoleon coin featured a portrait of Napoleon as first consul, bareheaded and with a classical, heroic look. After he crowned himself emperor in 1804, the portrait was updated to show him wearing a laurel wreath in the style of the Roman Caesars he so admired. The reverse side was simple and clear, stating its value, 20 francs, and the year, all within a wreath, with the words Empire Français around the edge. This design, combining classical grandeur with modern clarity, set the standard for the coin for over a century. The coin's specifications, 6.45 grams of 90% pure gold, remained consistent, which was the secret to its international success. Even after Napoleon's fall, the 20-franc gold coin continued to be minted. Although the name Napoleon is technically associated with coins bearing his portrait, the term is now commonly used for all French 20-franc gold coins produced throughout the 19th and early 20th centuries, regardless of who was on the throne. Kings Louis XVIII, Charles X, and Louis Philippe, as well as Napoleon III and the allegorical figures of the Republic, all appeared on this iconic coin. It became the backbone of the Latin monetary union, a precursor to the euro, which saw countries like Belgium, Italy, Switzerland, and Greece issue their own gold coins with the same specifications. Today, the Napoleon 20-franc coin is one of the most popular gold coins for both collectors and investors. Many common date coins are valued based on their gold content, making them an accessible entry point into the world of numismatics. However, certain dates, mint marks, or types are extremely rare and command high premiums. The discovery of hoards often makes headlines, such as the Trésor de la Rue Mouffetard, found in Paris in 1938, which contained over 3,000 gold coins, including many Napoleons. These stories add to the coin's legend, reminding us that these pieces of gold were once the hidden savings and secret fortunes of ordinary and extraordinary people. Long before the creation of the famous Gros Tournois, or the Louis d'Or, the land that would become France already had a rich and complex monetary history. To truly understand the depth of this heritage, we must travel back to the early Middle Ages, to the kingdoms of the Merovingians and Carolingians. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the Frankish kings who ruled Gaul, known as the Merovingians, continued the tradition of minting coins. However, Their coinage was very different from the standardized currency of Rome. They primarily issued small gold coins called trientes or tremises, which were 1/3 of a Roman solidus. These Merovingian coins are fascinating for their variety and often crude yet expressive artistry. Instead of a centralized minting system, coins were produced in numerous local workshops, often by moneyers who inscribed their own names on the coins alongside the name of the town. The portraits of the kings are highly stylized, sometimes reduced to a series of dots and lines, bearing little resemblance to a real person. What they lack in realistic portraiture, they make up for in historical charm and rarity. Each coin is a unique window into a fragmented and localized world, a dark age that was not so dark after all, but alive with commerce and local identity. The arrival of the Carolingian dynasty with Charlemagne in the late 8th century brought about a radical reform. Charlemagne sought to unify his vast empire, and a key part of his strategy was to create a single, unified currency. He abandoned gold coinage, which had become scarce, and introduced a new system based on silver. His famous reform of 794 established the denier as the standard coin. It was larger and heavier than previous silver coins and was of a consistently high purity. This new, reliable currency helped to standardize accounting and revitalize trade across the Carolingian Empire. The design of the Carolingian denier was a powerful symbol of imperial renewal. The early coins often featured a simple monogram of Charlemagne's name, Carolus, on one side and a cross on the other. This clean, authoritative design broke completely with the chaotic style of the Merovingian era. It proclaimed a new age of order, unity, and Christian authority under a powerful emperor. For historians and collectors, these early medieval coins are precious artifacts. They are tangible evidence of the political, economic, and artistic ambitions of the first dynasties to rule France, laying the foundations for the kingdom that would emerge centuries later. Nothing captures the imagination quite like the discovery of a hidden treasure. In France, a country with such a long and turbulent history, stories of buried hoards of coins, known as trésors, are part of the national folklore. These discoveries are not just romantic tales, they are of immense importance to historians and numismatists. A hoard acts as a time capsule, providing a snapshot of the currency in circulation at the moment it was buried. By studying the coins found together, experts can learn which types were common, how long they circulated, and gain insights into the economic anxieties that led people to hide their wealth in the first place. One of the most spectacular discoveries was the Trésor de Lava, found in the Gulf of Lava off the coast of Corsica in 1985. Divers stumbled upon a treasure trove of 3rd century Roman gold coins and dishes of extraordinary quality and rarity. The hoard included some of the finest known examples of coins depicting emperors like Gallienus and Claudius Gothicus, masterpieces of Roman minting. The find triggered a gold rush of divers and led to years of legal battles, highlighting the immense monetary and historical value of such a discovery. It remains one of the most significant Roman gold hoards ever found. Moving closer to our time, the story of the treasure of the Rue Mouffetard in Paris is legendary. In 1938, construction workers demolishing a building found a pot containing 3,294 gold coins, mostly Louis d'Or and Napoleons from the 18th and 19th centuries. The treasure was likely hidden by an anxious bourgeois or aristocrat around 1848, a year of revolution in Paris. The coins were in pristine condition, having never circulated. This amazing discovery provided a perfect cross-section of the gold currency used by a wealthy Parisian family during that era, and the coins from this hoard are now highly prized by collectors for their exceptional quality and famous provenance. Beyond chance discoveries, the world of high-stakes auctions is where the value of precious French coins is put to the ultimate test. Prestigious auction houses in Paris, Monaco, and London regularly feature rare French coins that attract wealthy collectors from around the globe. A coin's history or provenance is paramount here. A Louis d'Or that can be traced back to the collection of a famous connoisseur or a royal family will sell for many times the price of a similar coin without such a pedigree. These record-breaking sales, sometimes reaching hundreds of thousands or even millions of euros for a single coin, generate headlines and fuel the passion for collecting these miniature treasures of French history. What makes one old coin worth a few euros, while another, seemingly similar, is worth a fortune? The answer lies in a combination of factors that collectors and experts use to determine a coin's value. The most fundamental element is, of course, the metal itself. A gold or silver coin will always have a base value tied to the current market price of its bullion content. This provides a safety net for its worth. But for a truly precious coin, this is only the starting point. The real value for a collector, the numismatic value, often soars far beyond the mere price of the metal it contains. Rarity is arguably the most critical factor that drives a coin's price into the stratosphere. A coin can be rare for several reasons. It might have been a special presentation piece, struck in very small numbers for the king to give as a gift. It could be a pattern or trial coin, an experimental design that was never approved for mass production. Or it could be from a year where very few coins were minted, or from a small provincial mint. For example, a louis d'or from the main Paris mint, mint mark A, is common, but the same coin from the mint of Pau, mint mark P, might be exceptionally rare and worth 100 times more. Scarcity creates demand, and high demand for few items leads to high prices. Condition, or grade, is another essential pillar of value. A coin that has survived for centuries without being heavily used will show sharp details, clear lettering, and lustrous surfaces. Numismatists use a detailed grading scale ranging from poor to perfect uncirculated, or fleur de coin, FDC. The difference in value between a coin in very fine condition and one in uncirculated condition can be enormous. A small scratch, a bit of wear on the high points of the portrait, or environmental damage can dramatically reduce a coin's desirability and price. Collectors are always searching for the best preserved example of a coin, the top pop, and are willing to pay a significant premium for it. Finally, history and provenance add an intangible but powerful element of value. A coin with a story is always more desirable. Was it found in a famous shipwreck? Did it belong to King Louis XVI? Was it part of the legendary collection of the Hunt brothers? This documented history of ownership, its provenance, provides a guarantee of authenticity and adds a layer of romance and prestige. A coin is not just an object, it is a witness to history. The combination of valuable metal, extreme rarity, superb condition, and a compelling story is the magic formula that creates a truly precious coin, a treasure worthy of a museum or a king's cabinet. For anyone enchanted by the history and beauty of French coinage, certain coins stand out as icons of their era. They are the stars of numismatics, sought after for their beauty, rarity, and the powerful stories they tell. Here is a short guide to 5 of the most precious and desirable coins in French history, each a dream for any serious collector. They represent key moments in the nation's journey, from the medieval faith of St. Louis to the imperial ambition of Napoleon, embodying the art and power of France in metal. First, the Gros Tournois of St. Louis, struck around 1266. This large silver coin is the first truly modern coin of medieval France. Its reliable weight and purity helped unify the kingdom's economy. Its design, with the cross and the Châtel Tournois, is a powerful symbol of the faith and authority of King Louis IX, one of France's most revered monarchs. Owning one is like holding a piece of the High Middle Ages. Its preciousness comes from its immense historical importance and the challenge of finding a well-preserved example. Second, the Écu d'or à la chaise of Jean le Bon from the 1350s. Struck during the 100 Years' War, this magnificent gold coin shows King Jean II, the Good, seated on an elaborate Gothic throne, or chaise, holding a scepter and the hand of justice. It is a masterpiece of Gothic art in miniature, radiating royal majesty. As Jean II was famously captured by the English at the Battle of Poitiers, this coin is a poignant relic of a chivalrous but tragic reign. Its artistic beauty and historical context make it a numismatic treasure. Third, the louis d'or of Louis XIV, who reigned from 1643 to 1715. The quintessential French gold coin, the louis d'or, is the symbol of the Sun King's absolute power and the splendor of Versailles. The coins bearing his portrait, which ages from a young boy to an old man over his long reign, form a gallery of Baroque art. Rare varieties, such as those with unusual mint marks or from early in his reign, are incredibly valuable. It is precious not just for its gold, but for embodying the glory of France's Grand Siècle. Fourth, the silver écu of Louis XVI au Laurier, minted between 1774 and 1791. This large silver coin bearing the serene portrait of Louis XVI is a haunting artifact from the eve of the French Revolution. It was the last royal écu of the Ancien Régime, a coin that circulated as the kingdom crumbled. Within years of its minting, the king would be imprisoned and the monarchy abolished. Its preciousness lies in this powerful historical connection to one of history's greatest turning points. It is a silent witness to the end of an era. And finally, the 20 francs gold Napoleon, minted between 1804 and 1815. The coin that defined the 19th century. With its imperial portrait of Napoleon I, it is a symbol of ambition, military glory, and the creation of a modern, stable France. Its consistent weight and purity made it the most trusted gold coin in the world, the foundation of an international monetary system. While common dates are accessible, early years or rare varieties are highly sought after. It is precious because it carries the legend of one of history's most iconic figures.